Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to my channel called Fitter Philosophy, in which I talk about things and do monologues on things experience, practical, common sense, philosophical, stoicism, and it just gets better with time, because with time we get more experience. And one of the valuable resources of the internet is that people with experience can share that for other people to examine, to learn from, to question, and it's that sharing of information in a way which has historically never been possible before that can help individual lives to be improved, to get better, and to have more substance and meaning. And it goes beyond the individual. It becomes groups of people, societies of people, communities of people in one global village. Because the humanoid collective is at an interesting time in its development. There are many powers out there struggling for control of the species, and one of the results is that there appears to be a lot of uncertainty and confusion and a lack of consistency and stability in economies. And it's something I want to address, because there's an old philosophical saying that goes, expect the best but prepare for the worst, because when we prepare for the worst, what we can expect is that it won't be as bad as it could be, and in fact it will be a little bit better, and it helps us to improve our odds. And I'll explain this in a little more detail. We live at a moment in time globally where there's a lot of flux, unrest, divisiveness, and in fact this has been the companion of the human condition for many, many generations. There's nothing new about it. The difference is, at this moment in time, in 2022, because of the internet, it's simply more visible. We can see it because of the power of technology. And this empowers us individually. So, for example, if we're in threat of losing our jobs, we can stock up with food, we can cut down with expenses, we can see what we've got in terms of resources to tide us over periods of unemployment, and importantly we can appraise our skills and our value to employers, and also our value to possibly the most important employer that we have, which is ourselves. I now know several people who have gone off-grid, and by off-grid I mean it's not just they're now in a remote area with no electricity, no gas, and relying on biofuel to heat stoves, and their water supply now reaches them through a hose pipe out of a local stream which they filter, and they collect the rainwater off their roof from the gutter. They're doing things like this which to people in a more conventional lifestyle may seem a little bit basic, but in embracing that basic lifestyle, they're discovering something new in a quality of life where they become their own employer. And nobody's going to look after you when it comes to employment than when you employ yourself. But it's detaching a little bit from the mainstream. We all have some skills, and it's using these, connecting these directly to the local community around us and the wider community through online platforms, that we can start to reconfigure ourselves. In other words, we can prepare for the best but expect the worst, because in expecting the worst, should it come along, we're better prepared for the best of the situation. There are certain people, a lot of people I know, who are trapped in their circumstances, whether it be in relationships, whether it be in the work they do, but most importantly, usually, it's in the amount of debt that's been carried. And There's not an easy answer to this because of the outrageous price of commodities and utilities, commodities being property and utilities being energy. And these continue to make people vulnerable and make people more easy to manipulate because it's all about the power of cash, of economies, of worth, of use and usury. It's part of the human condition, and the more we can downsize our costs, the more simple our lives, the more basic, the less distraction, the less confusing, the less complex, the less manipulated we are. These opportunities certainly do exist. At the moment, it tends to be only for the brave and courageous. But as time goes on, it's going to latch on. More and more people will find their own space away from the cities and want to live more quiet lives, more basic lives with wholesome food. Food that does not trigger cancer, that does not trigger diabetes, that does not trigger heart disease. And automatically you can see in that simple statement I've just made that basic living actually can dramatically improve your quality of life. Because if you dramatically improve the quality of your health, that's got a lot to do with the quality of your life, no matter how much money you do or do not have. Think outside the box. Think outside the routines that we're all routinely encouraged to buy into and to connect with. More people are doing that. Not everybody can just sell a house and move out to a small remote cottage or homestead in the countryside. In fact, relatively few people can do that. But we can all do something to make ourselves less vulnerable in economic downturns, where as a result of the economic situation around us, we can become more vulnerable. I hope you found this helpful, hope you found this useful. My conclusion is, one of the best ways forward is to think outside the box. To change a little on a regular basis is ultimately to change a lot more than we think we can change. It's a plan. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Click like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see you again, gainers. Bye-bye.